value management. A lot of what Lori is really, really good at and what she's known for is what is called lead to revenue management. Now, when we opened up today's proceedings, I talked about how today's customer, today's B2B buyer, is becoming increasingly more demanding, much more focused on personalized service, much more focused on personalized recommendations on the website, much more interested in content delivered in email that is relevant. What Lori's going to take you through is what the latest research from Forrester is going to enable you to know about what you need to know to do that well. Please put your hands together for Lori Wizdo of Forrester Research.
Thank you, everybody. It's good to be here today. And this is a different slide advancement tool than I was shown earlier, so let's just see. Okay, all right, great, it works. As Joel said, I'm with Forrester Research, and I look after this arcane research body called Lead to Revenue Management, which, again, is everything from what it takes to attract a lead to your website, or find a targeted lead, convert that lead to a sales qualified lead, and increasingly we're looking in our research at the sales enablement challenges to make sure we maximize the conversion of those leads to revenue. Now, what Joel didn't mention is I've only been with Forrester for about 18 months, and prior to that I have a ridiculously long career, 30 years, in B2B marketing, most of it in technology marketing. About half that time was spent in large companies like BMC and Unisys, and I had the challenges of being very removed from my customers and operating through this globally decentralized sales force. And then about half the time was spent in startup companies in the 5 to 25 million range mostly. And then I had the challenge of really being on the front line with regard to having to deliver revenue and meaningful leads for the sales organization. But not having been an analyst for a long time, there are certain things about being an analyst that just don't resonate well. I don't have enough intellectual arrogance, I think. So sometimes when I see slides like this where Forrester announces we've now entered the age of the customer, it doesn't mean all that much to me. It just seems like a little bit, well, trying to make more out of something than we need to. But this particular one did resonate a bit, and I particularly wanted to use it today with this audience. It's a simple concept. What did it take to be the market leader, to create wealth, to create shareholder value through the last couple centuries? And we start with the age of manufacturing, and yes, people who could amass the capital to build big manufacturing plants could produce, could lower the cost, could increase the variety, and they became the wealth builders, the leaders. When, as we go through this, we commoditize everything. So all of a sudden, people could get access to manufacturing resources. They could rent manufacturing facilities, and the leaders became those who could control distribution, transportation, logistics, people who could get things from here to there faster than anybody else could. So folks like the big box retailers, like Walmart, like distribution logistics companies like UPS became the wealth creators. That went away when all of a sudden the internet creates a new age when there doesn't mean as much as there used to mean. And so people who could move information from here to there became the leaders. So the internet startups are the wealth creators. And where I'm heading with this is, we've come out saying, it's the age of the customer, and really we've commoditized all these other sources of competitive value. And now what it boils down to is to lead, to create value, to create wealth for your shareholders. It all boils down to being the company that your customer wants to buy from. That's the power of the customer. Now, why I chose this particular slide right now is really I got the idea from the theme of this event, which is B2B Inspiration Tour. Now, I've been a marketer for, as I said, a long time, 30 years. And I don't think it's ever been a better time to be a B2B marketer. There's two things that are important right now. One is we are the connection to our customers, and we have the ability to, with the tools and the technology that we have with the marketing automation platforms, we have the ability to now really engage with those customers in a meaningful way. So those customers have new demands on us in terms of, they want to know, very demanding. They want to know everything, they interact with us through a number of different channels. They come to our website, they read emails about us, they hear about us, they go to events, there's word of mouth, they read about us on blogs, And they expect us to know everything they know about us, everything they've said yes to and no to before, and really give them a meaningful experience when they come and engage with us. That's a demanding customer. So just to tie back to where does lead to revenue management fit in this age of the customer, if you're a B2B marketer, probably lead to revenue management really translates to what you do every day, because as this information shows, the things that lead to revenue management or revenue marketing or revenue performance management or whatever term you want to use for it, the things that we generate, which are helping our companies acquire and retain new customers, and how we grow and growing our company's overall revenue, are the top issues. This chart happens to show data from our most recent Foresight survey, and we surveyed, can't see the number down, about a couple thousand, I think, business decision makers, and said, what are your top priorities? And the things that B2B marketers, revenue marketers, people who are involved in lead to revenue management do every day are, in fact, addressing the top 2 concerns of business decision makers. If you go down to the third one there, which is address the rising expectations of customers and improving customer satisfaction, we're also engaged in that, because we are controlling our company's engagement with our customers. So lead to revenue management is at the heart of the most important priorities for our companies. Now, many of you probably, how many of you have been in marketing and B2B marketing for more than 10 years? Okay. How many were involved in B2B marketing before there was an internet? Okay, thank you. So I have a bit of a perspective on this because I was a B2B marketer for a number of years, as I said, before I joined Forrester. And I think back, the whole marketing automation industry, and email marketing was predating it a little longer than this, but the whole industry really is not that old. I'm saying 10 years, but starting in 2000, I started this chart in 2000 because that's when I left my big company, Unisys, and became the VP of marketing for a small internet startup company. I sat down at my desk that first day and realized that all of a sudden I had all the responsibility for generating the pipeline that would generate the revenue, that would create the company or not create the company. And it was a pretty sobering thought. But one of the things, it was about that time, it was 2001. But one of the things that marketing automation has done, and where we've come as B2B marketers, starts with a very simple concept. The first thing we did was marketing got a funnel. Because if you think about that, before we had automation, sales had a funnel. They had a pipeline, but marketing had a bunch of names. And we never knew what happened to those names. We had a bunch of names we mailed stuff to. Hard copy mailed, although we were beginning to email. So first of all, we got a funnel. We became part of the revenue generation process in our companies. I might have overdone my cleverness on this particular slide, but we became drip marketers. Okay, that is a lovely line graphic of drip irrigation. So now, drip marketing has sort of a bad name, and I will use it in a pejorative way, but if you think about it, that was really quite an accomplishment. When I began my first drip marketing program, which was in like 2002, you had an Excel spreadsheet, or maybe a SQL database, and you had like a Post-it note that told you when to do your next mail. And if I think back, I don't think Post-it notes were invented yet, so you had a scrap of paper somewhere. You had no real ability to segment, no real ability to do behaviorally, contextually aware emails. You were drip marketing, and that was a really big thing. And automation and email marketing gave us the ability to do that, to have a continual dialogue with our customers. I think the most important thing that I get excited about with marketing, well, it's not the thing I get most excited about, but it probably is one of the most important, is that marketing automation gives us the opportunity to really know and account for the revenue and the business impact of our marketing spend. We are now able to say that this $1 million or $800,000 or whatever we're spending, or $800 million, generated this amount of revenue to the company. And that, suddenly, I mean, even if the numbers, I've been there, and even when the numbers aren't what you want them to be, even when we're not contributing that much, even when sales is contributing 90% or generating 90% of the pipeline and we're doing 5%, 10. We're doing 10. Which brings me to another question. How many people got into marketing because there was no math? Since I've just displayed my lack of proficiency with it. But even just being able to sit at the table and be able to account for the, of the revenue. Here is the revenue impact of the trade show we went to 2 years ago, or last year, or of this campaign that we launched. And that all of a sudden raised the stature of marketing from just not the t-shirt and pretty brochure people. Some other things. Matthew talked, because I don't want to disappoint his mom, Matthew talked a lot about content marketing. And really, if you think about, in your own organizations, how far you've come from putting out, 3 product brochures for each 3 brochures for each product you had, and really beginning to think about engaging with our customers and giving them the kind of information that they need, we've gone a long way in a short period of time to become content marketers. At the same time, we've had to deal with a great number of a wildly proliferating set of digital channels and social channels, and we've accomplished that. The relationship with sales and marketing has changed dramatically in the last 10 years, where again, there's still a lot, it's still a popular topic in blogs, it's still a lot of room to go, but the relationship between sales and marketing, when we're talking about one process, when we're really able to talk in their terms about things we're doing to affect their revenue, has really increased, really enhanced the relationship quite a bit. And today, we're at a point where basically marketing really can be a predictable, revenue enablement engine is what I've used here, but really a predictable, I was at a conference a little bit ago, and the CEO of the company was speaking, and he made the comment about where their company had gone with marketing automation in the last couple of years, and he said, if I want to know what my sales are going to be this quarter, I ask my VP of sales. If I want to know what my sales are going to be next quarter, I ask my VP of marketing. And that's a tremendous statement of where we've come as marketers, from just people controlling brand and image and brochures and ads, which to a B2B organization are not as significant, as I said with that data I showed, as how are you driving revenue and how are you helping us acquire and retain customers. And here's some research we have that indicates how far we have come. This is from a survey we do every year called Marketing Tactics and Metrics. And what we asked people was, what percentage of your sales pipeline is driven by a marketing program? So what's the marketing impact on the pipeline? On average, this year's results, this survey was done in the 4th quarter of last year, this year's results showed that 40% of the average, it's an average of course, but 40% of B2B pipeline is driven by marketing. That's up from 28% 2 years ago when we did the same survey. So that's a tremendous realized gain for the profession. This is a little harder to orient to. There are two, we asked how well the marketing organization collaborates with the sales organization on a number of topics, on setting revenue goals, on defining and executing field programs, on administering leads and lead pipelines, and capturing insights from customers and prospects. And the bottom line, the dark blue line, are people who have implemented marketing automation, and the top blue line are folks who have not. So you'll see in all cases, again, there's room to grow here, but the people who have implemented marketing automation have somewhere between 8 and 13% higher levels of good collaboration with the sales organization. And these are the kind of things that have been happening in the last couple of years. So a broken process, this end-to-end lead pipeline process, moving a prospect through the pipeline, is improving, and I say it's improving fast. This is showing, again, stages you're all familiar with, but what percentage, again, for 2 lines there, all performers, everybody we surveyed, and then the top performers, those who were contributing more than 50% to the sales pipeline. So what are your average conversion ratios at each stage? So 32% of the leads that come in turn into MQLs, 32% of the MQLs turn into SQLs, 28% of those SQLs, sales qualified leads, become pipeline opportunities, 26% of those go on to become a closed deal. And those don't seem like deplorable numbers when you look at them stage by stage by stage, but if you do the math, the end-to-end conversion ratio for all performers, it's 0.75. Now, the top performers double that, so you can take a look at these numbers and say, we're making great progress. The people who are doing this well are doing twice as well as the guys who aren't doing it very well. In fact, as I said, we do this research year over year, so the year before this, the number for all was 0.69, and the number for the top performers was 0.75. So in 1 year, the top performers really upped their game quite a bit. And I use these numbers to talk about the impact that a well-managed process can have, that a process that's managed with automation can give you. But I also use it another way. And the way I also use it is that if you look at those numbers, and I've sat down in January and at the end of December with numbers like that, and done a little bit of math in my little bit of spreadsheet that I can do, and what you quickly realize is you can't get there from here. You know, you do them and you sit there and say, wow, I need to already have 5,000 leads in the pipeline at my current conversion rates to get deals into the sales pipeline that will close by the end of the year. So the number of times that I've done that math and then closed the laptop and poured a glass of Chardonnay, so there's quite a few. So obviously we need to get better, and not just, I think that